Hey everybody, I'm Sean Duhamel from Mass Retirees. Welcome to our update. Today's Friday, October 25th. We just got one more week left of this month. The holidays are almost upon us, but it's a really busy time. You never know what each week is going to bring. This week we have some really good news to report. Some of our legislation that we filed here in Massachusetts is beginning to move. The Public Service Committee had an executive session yesterday, so there's some good news to report. But before I get into that, let me just give a quick update on the Social Security windfall elimination provision situation, what's happening with H.R. 4540. Now, I don't have any real new information to report other than to say this legislation continues to pick up momentum. Each week that goes by, we're getting more and more national organizations on board with us. We've already reported that the NEA, the AFT, the IAFF, AFSCME. Here in Massachusetts, we have our friends from REAM, the Retired Educators of Massachusetts. They're on board. NARFE, the Federal Retirees and Active Employees Union, they're on board. So momentum is continuing to grow. We're picking up endorsements from other states as well. The thing I need to ask you folks for, again, if you haven't already contacted your local member of Congress, please do so now. Either call their office, send an email, send an old-fashioned letter. I know some of you know your local congressman personally, so that touch always helps. And there's no secret sauce to any of this stuff other than to ask them two things. Become a co-sponsor of H.R. 4540, which is a bill to reform the windfall elimination provision. And in addition to doing that, ask them to please make this issue a priority for action during the current congressional session. The stars are aligned, as they say. This is really the best opportunity that I believe we've ever had to address this issue, and we're going to leave no stone unturned in trying to do something about it. But let me shift gears back to here in Massachusetts. As I said, things have been very busy. Earlier this week, Frank Valeri and I testified before the Joint Committee on Public Service. Our bills that we filed in terms of veterans benefits were all heard this past Monday. All of the bills that Mass Retirees have filed at this point have received a public hearing, either before the Public Service Committee or before the Committee on Healthcare Finance, which is very important because at this point, the committee members, the committee staff, they're analyzing all these different bills. The Public Service Committee alone has something like 700 bills that they're considering right now. Now think about that for a minute. 700 different bills are before one committee. And they can't possibly be all things to all people and address all these different issues. So they have to pick and choose. They have to prioritize. And over our 51-year history, we're sort of punching above our weight in our batting average. To use a couple of sports metaphors, is pretty darn good. That we would be in the Hall of Fame in terms of 51 years of all the legislation that we've had some impact on. But you can never look backwards. You always got to keep moving forward. And right now our focus is on a few really hot issues here in Massachusetts. One is the bill to increase basic life insurance benefits for state retirees and active state employees. You know it's been locked in at $5,000 all the way back to 1985. That's a long time. $5,000 does not even come close to paying for the cost of a funeral and burial and all the things that go with it. And we met with Senator Brady a few days ago. He is the Senate chairman of the Public Service Committee. Mike Brady, of course, is from the city of Brockton, very good friend of our association. He made it a personal priority of his, along with his House counterpart, Jerry Paracella from Beverly, to report out what is known as House Bill 2312. Now, they combined the House and Senate bills. Representative Lawn from Watertown is a sponsor of 2312. Senator Brendan Creighton from Lynn is a Senate sponsor of the bill. This legislation is now going to the House Ways and Means Committee, which is chaired by State Rep. Aaron Michowitz from the North End, good friend of our association as well. Frank met with Chairman Michowitz a few months ago to begin the conversation about how important this issue is and trying to find some creative ways of being able to pay for this and finance it. That's always, the biggest hurdle we face is having the funds to pay for these things. And it may seem easy, well, why can't they just pay for this? They pay for everything else, which to a degree is true. But when you look at the amount of money that's going into the GIC, which is over $2 billion a year to pay for state health insurance benefits, Another almost $3 billion a year going into the state and teacher pension system. That's combined roughly $5 billion right off the top, paying for the types of benefits that you earned, you deserve, you paid your own money toward, but the bottom line is just very expensive. So again, we need to put the focus on this, and it is a top priority of our association, and in particular with Frank having lost his dad and his in-laws just over the past few years. This issue really hits home with him. Now, the other big development this week is in terms of veterans legislation. As I said, Frank and I testified before Public Service on Monday about the 3 bills that we have before the committee. The top one being the veterans bonus, and that piece of legislation, House 2346 is the number. Again, 2346 is the veterans bonus legislation. This bill is sponsored by Chairman Paracella himself. Now, yesterday, along with the life insurance bill, the veterans bonus legislation was also released favorably from Public Service, and that most likely will also go to House Ways and Means. Now, this legislation increases the veterans bonus, that if you are a veteran, the bonus is something that's automatically included as part of your base pension. So you're already getting this. This is not a new benefit. We get calls all the time from people saying, I don't know if I'm getting this or not. You're getting it. In the last several years, we've only dealt with one retiree who was not receiving it, should have been receiving it. The state retirement system had to send him a check for, I think, $6,300 they owed him. So if you're in doubt, call the retirement board. Just say, hey, I want to confirm that I'm getting the veterans bonus. If for some reason they say that you're not, you'll have to provide them with a copy of your DD-214. Then they'll go through the process, and if, lo and behold, it's something you should have been getting that you didn't, they're going to owe you some money, which is a good thing. But right now, the veterans bonus is capped at a maximum of $300 a year. So if you had 20 years of service, you get $15 bonus for each year of credible service. That caps out at $300 bonus at 20 years of credible service. Our legislation increases it to $1,000 at 20 years of service. Now, going all the way back to the creation of Chapter 32, which is our retirement law, way back in 1945, this $300 bonus was first proposed back then. $300 in 1945 would be worth about $4,300 today. So it's a big difference, and the benefit's never been increased all these years. It finally went into effect in 1957, and it's been frozen at $300 ever since. So these two bills are moving. There's a lot of interest in doing something about them. Now, the rest of our legislative package, whether it be Option C, whether it be COLAs, whether it be the part-time hours that a retiree can work, all of those bills are still before Public Service. We anticipate the committee taking action on those bills sometime over the next several weeks, probably before the holidays. So stay tuned to this channel, to our website, massretirees.com, and most of all, our newsletter for any updated information on these. But going back to my original point, if you haven't already contacted your congressman about HR 4540, please do so today. We could really use your help. Thank you again so much. Subscribe to our channel by clicking the button above.